The sentences of 3 individuals who were imprisoned following the murder of Thomas Campbell are being reviewed by the government's chief legal advisor to determine whether they are excessively lenient. Mr. Campbell was brutally killed in his own residence by 3 armed assailants who stabbed, strangled, and beat him while pouring boiling water on his genitals during a 2-hour ordeal. The attackers plotted to rob Mr. Campbell's cash, drugs, or valuables. After a 5-week trial, 3 people were convicted and sentenced in Bolton Crown Court. One of the attackers, Reece Stephen, was convicted of murder and received a life sentence with a minimum of 37 years before being eligible for parole. Stephen Cleworth was convicted of manslaughter, despite not being present at the time of the murder, and was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 12 years. Colleen Campbell, Mr. Campbell's ex-wife, was also found guilty of manslaughter and was sentenced to 13 years in prison, with a requirement to serve 2/3 of her sentence before being released. The 3 were also found guilty of conspiring to rob Mr. Campbell. The unduly lenient scheme allows victims of crime, members of the public, and the Crown Prosecution Service to request the Attorney General, the government's chief legal advisor, to review a sentence that they believe is too lenient. It is unknown who made the submission to the Attorney General's office in this case. The Attorney General's office has 28 days from the day of sentencing to consider the case, and if the referral is deemed meritorious, the case can be forwarded to the Court of Appeal, where judges may impose a harsher sentence. The Attorney General is Victoria Prentice KC, a Conservative MP. The investigation into Mr. Campbell's murder is still ongoing, and the alleged mastermind behind the attack, John Belfield, is still at large and wanted on suspicion of murder. Detectives believe that Belfield may be in Spain or Tenerife. Belfield, an alleged drug dealer, sought revenge against Mr. Campbell, who was in a relationship with Belfield's former girlfriend, and planned to rob him of his assets. The identity of the 3rd attacker who assaulted Mr. Campbell at his home is unknown.